Welcome to U.S. Immigrant Journey, Opportunities and Challenges.
Hello and welcome to U.S. Immigrant Journey, Opportunities and Challenges with attorney Edwin Fogam. Edwin is the founder of the law offices of Fogam Associates, LLC. He's originally from Cameroon. He built his legal career in the U.S. after navigating the immigration system himself, giving him a unique perspective and deep empathy for the clients he now represents. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood parts of business integration, the PERM labor certification process. Edwin, welcome back.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Excited to chat with you again. So we're talking about how employers can navigate PERM labor certification without getting lost. So let's just start with the definition. What exactly is PERM labor certification, and why is it required for many employment-based green cards?
Yes, PERM, which is short for Process Employment Management System, is actually a process for obtaining employment visas for foreign nationals, right? Basically, what happens is it's a way that the U.S. Department of Labor requires that for foreign nationals to be hired, U.S. employees or potential employees should not be displaced.
So what are the most important steps in the PERM process that employers need to understand from the beginning? Or maybe what are the steps? How does this process work?
It is quite a demanding process, and there are steps. There are recruitment steps, advertisement steps, and these steps are actually structured such that you have to do them within certain periods of time. And you have to follow those steps very strictly, because that is what allows the Department of Labor, when these cases are being reviewed, to figure out whether you actually give opportunities to American citizens who were qualified to be hired. So you have advertising, you have recruitment, interviews, and all those steps that you have to go through, and you have to document them properly.
How long does it take?
You say between 12 months to about 14 months.
Wow.
Now, that is generally without any problems. Sometimes there could be delays, backlogs, which could delay those, and also errors. And if these recruitment steps are not followed properly, and there could also be an audit, right? The Department of Labor has that right to audit how you performed the various steps, and those things can delay the process as well.
What can businesses do to be better prepared?
I think what most businesses should do when you go, first of all, you should have to start early, right? Start at least 12 months before and start the strategic planning. And of course, you need to work with somebody, an attorney who knows what has to be done. Then you have to look at the recruitment steps themselves, the job descriptions, the ads, and all those things have some requirements that if you don't really know how you are going about them, you could make very minor errors that can either delay or result into a denial.
Okay, and what mistakes have you seen that might tend to lead to denials or audits during the PERM process?
Yeah, the first mistake I see very often is starting very late, so the process is being rushed and the timelines are not being met properly. Secondly, job description. Some employers describe the position in such a way that it appears to be uniquely created for somebody that they want to hire. So if you don't have somebody to actually guide you through that, you may make very many mistakes in that regard. And also language. Some employers use language as a job requirement. You can do that, but you have to establish serious business necessities. And if you don't know how to do that, that may cause problems. Now, even completing the applications themselves, there are a couple of forms that I've seen employers who try to do this by themselves sometimes make those mistakes even before they come to us, and we have to redo the process. We have to go over everything again.
Gosh, go through that whole process all over again. That would be a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Wow. So what is the documentation that an employer should have prepared for a successful PERM filing?
There are quite a number of them. But First of all, there is something we always encourage employers to keep what we call a recruitment manual, right? You have from the beginning of the process, from the ad to the interview, the notes during the interview, the job related reasons for rejecting applicants, because those are things that come up when there is an audit. So you have this recruitment binder or manual that you keep all these documents from the beginning of the process. And these are original documents like the ads themselves, the postings, the resumes, and all those things that you have. So those are very important. That's before filing, before even filing the applications.
Wow. So there's that much before you even file.
Yes, yes. You have to start that process. The whole process will take about 6, 7 months, which is just putting everything within timelines, and then you file it.
How does the Department of Labor determine whether they're qualified U.S. workers available for the job?
Well, that's why they require all these documents, right? So
Right.
once you describe your position and you attach your job related, the documentations that you used, the ads and things like that, there are experts who look through this and look at it and determine whether you did the right things and enough Americans applied for that position. They could do some research. You could tell how many people would normally apply for positions like this. And if they have any doubts or they want to get additional information, that's when the audit comes in, right? They can audit and ask you for specific things and to determine whether you actually, quote unquote, tested the market, as they call it. You actually made sure that there were no Americans willing and ready and able to work in that position before hiring a foreign national.
But I mean, if you get audited or there's an audit involved, I mean, that feels like that's going to make it a really long process, right? Because I got to believe they're pretty backed up, especially these days.
Yes, they are. They are backed up. But the key is to prepare your documentations well and have everything well placed, because it is very easy to see when for the experts to know that this has been prepared very well and is pretty airtight, and they may not want to waste their time, if
Right.
that is done. So that's why we encourage employers to actually do that, solicit or seek the help of somebody who can assist them do that properly.
Tell me about what you offer. What do you help? How do you help businesses so that they don't run into some of these problems that we've talked about?
Yes, it's there are we offer broad services for this. First of all, as soon as an employer contacts us, we begin very early. We look at background information both from the employer's perspective and from the foreign national's perspective. We analyze the job requirements and we do some research on how many Americans are willing and able to do those type of jobs, and we make sure that whoever the employer is trying to petition for actually is very well qualified, in a way that if the employer decides to hire them over other applicants, there will be no question about that. So there are lots of strategies that go into this, but generally we really work with the employer, look at various documents and also their own information and the job descriptions.
Edwin, we've talked a handful of times now, and I feel like everything is just it's so you got to do it right. You got to
Yes,
get this right. You got to have this part, you're ready to go. You got to do your timing right. All of these processes, they're so regimented, it seems.
yes, yes. For PERM in particular,
Okay.
the recruitment process is so tight that just missing the period to post something can derail the whole application. So that's very important.
Why is this particular area so airtight, as to use your words?
I think one of the main reasons is to protect American workers
Mm.
as the first, and to ensure that the foreign nationals who are hired are really needed, right? Are needed for those positions. I think it's more an economic imperative, a national security or national interest imperative, I would think.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way to speed up the process, or is it just is what it is?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
I think the only way you can make sure the process goes as fast as possible is to ensure that from the beginning everything is done properly so that it falls squarely within the processing time. that is available. Now, the 12 months, that's quite a reasonable time for an immigration or a labor department application, as long as everything is done properly. But you can't expedite it as you can do in other cases, like I-140 and other things with USCIS. No.
Can a small or mid-sized company realistically go through PERM, or is it really only for larger corporations?
Oh no, yes, small firms can actually do that. In fact, many of our clients are medium-sized and small firms because
Okay.
actually they are more agile. Their HR departments are slimmer and easier to work with. Big firms are good as long as it is dedicated to one small group or department to handle. But absolutely, small firms can file. They just need to go with it, follow the process properly, and do the right things with the right guidance. They'll probably succeed.
Why would a business want to go through the PERM process rather than other areas of immigration, other visas and things like that to bring workers in?
Well, sometimes they don't have a choice, right? For example, if you want an employee either from abroad or here who doesn't have any other immigration option, like family based or asylum or anything, you will have to go through the labor department if you think this is a qualified employee that you want to hire or a qualified candidate that you want to consider. Now, there are a few exceptions, but those are like it's called national interest waiver, whereby the labor certification process can be waived. But that is a discussion for another day. However, generally, employers sometimes are compelled to go through this process because it's required for a foreign national to be hired in the United States if there are no other waivers or any other employment-based way to go about it. Yeah.
Are there situations where even if they had other options, that PERM would be a better way to do it?
Yes, I would think so. I would think so because you see, there could be family-based immigration, but at the same time, it will depend on things like the proving the bona fides of the marriage and other immigration concerns. Also, it could be better for somebody who is abroad who probably is not here, because if you're here and you obtain your PERM, the application, that doesn't guarantee your adjustment of status. You must have been in valid non-immigrant status. So sometimes PERM may be the only way when you want people to come from abroad who have not actually overstayed here and incurred a period of inadmissibility. If you understand what I mean, yeah, because it is a strategic decision to be made. But many times, yes, PEM may be the only way to go about it.
If you get denied, if there's a denial, what are the most common reasons for denial?
Improper filing, missing the strict deadlines for posting the ads and the posting notices, erroneous description or misdescription of the the position, tailoring it to fit a particular applicant or candidate, using a language requirement without establishing serious business necessity. Those are some of the reasons that could be denied. Wait, I mean, salary. Otherwise, the income, the salary is usually not a big problem because most businesses who have decided to do that can have the ability to pay, right? So many times the prevailing wage rate that is used is acceptable.
If you do everything right, you go through the process properly, you do your deadlines, you've got your paperwork, everything's good, but you get denied for like a reason at the end, like say your example of that, maybe the job description was clearly tailored for that particular person. Can you appeal? Do you have options at that point?
Yes, you can appeal or you can refile. Generally, once you're denied, you can do motions to reconsider and so on before even considering an appeal, or you can refile. Now, it will really depend on the reason why it was denied. If it was denied for a simple technical reason and if refiling can cure that, that would be a better way to go. If it was denied for a legal reason that you believe is not correct, for example, the job necessity, and we contend that that position required a language and we had it in there and it was denied for that purpose, then yes, appeal may be the better option, and let the administrative appeal units determine whether that decision was properly made or not.
How long does that process take?
I don't know. It can take a while too. Yeah. That's why sometimes the best option may be to refile, right?
To just start over.
Yes.
Wow.
Depending on many factors, the status of the potential employee, the time the employer has to put in there, and so many other factors. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it for today's episode. You know, that this PERM process, in case you haven't noticed, can sort of feel like a maze. But with careful planning, legal support, it does not have to be a roadblock. So make sure if you're going through this process, connect with someone like Edwin. Visit fogamlaw.com to take the first step. Like and subscribe to our channel. We've got lots of great information coming your way. Edwin, it's always great chatting with you. Thanks for going through this process with us. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to talk with you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.